Yeah, I'm going to show you some animation functionality, and in particular, kind of like shooter games. So I'm going to have a spaceship, and it's going to try to shoot some objects. So I've already got a canvas here, and I'm going to drag out an image sprite, which is very much like a ball. Um, behaves the same, but you can set a picture for it. And I've already uploaded a picture into my media here of a little spaceship. So I'm going to bring that guy in. You'll notice it also shows up on the emulator here as I work. I'm just going to move him down. And then I'm going to also grab a ball. This will be my bullet. Not very beautiful for now, but we can always change it later. But I'm going to bring that ball in and locate him kind of right above the spaceship. And I'm going to call this image sprite 1 instead of that. Call it the shooter sprite. And that's what it'll be named. And just for the animation, I'm going to need a clock timer. So I'm going to bring the clock in, and that'll at least get us started. So I'm going to go over to the blocks editor, and kind of first thing is I just want that bullet to start moving when time starts. So I'll go to my blocks and grab the clock. And so on the clock timer, I want that clock timer. I want it to be like 50 milliseconds. So that means 20 times a second something will happen on this timer. And in this case, what I want is that ball, my bullet. I want to move it up. So I'm just gonna change its y coordinate to kind of what it was, and then I'll just add like 10 to it. So I'm just typing in these numbers, and I'm going to stick the 10 on the right side and the ball dot 1. So I'm basically going to say change the y coordinate of the bullet of the ball to what it was plus 10 more. Actually, I decided I went the wrong way. I want to go minus. So I'm going to say minus 10, and there it's shooting. So I got a bullet shooting, and it's going to start right here and go up. But really, I don't want it to happen. I don't want this timer to start, really working until the person says shoot. And maybe what we'll say is when they press on the shooter, they can shoot it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start the timer off, the clock, as not enabled, and then I'm only going to start it up when the shooter sprite is touched. So when I touch the shooter sprite, I'm going to enable the timer. So I need to find the set clock timer dot enabled, and I'll stick true in there. And notice this is a Boolean true. It's not the text true, but true like true or false. So let's rerun this to see what happens. What I think is going to happen is the app will start with the spaceship and the bullet right on top of it, and then when I with the emulator, I'll click on the spaceship, and then the bullet should shoot straight up from there. Um, and let's see if it works. So here it comes. The app's starting to load. There's my spaceship. Notice the bullet's not moving yet because the timer's not enabled yet, but I think I'm going to enable it when I touch the sprite. So let's see. Touch the sprite, and now it shoots. Just pretty much what I want. The other thing, I can do a number of things. One thing I might want to do is make the bullet also appear when I click on the sprite. So let's go back over here and let's click on the ball. And what I'll do is kind of make it not visible to start. Okay. And if I want to see what components I have, this little checkbox will show me my invisible ones. So this basically, what appears here are all my objects. I can set them visible or not visible, which means when the app starts, will it appear? In this case, it won't. And this just says, do I want to, as I'm designing, do I want to see these things? And I do. But notice in my app, it's not there, right? when things start off. So it's going to be invisible when the app starts, but when I click my shooter, I'm going to also make it visible. So I'll say ball.visible. I'll copy this true and stick it in there. Okay. And so now I think when I shoot, actually let's restart this guy. So I'm going to restart the emulator. And it's going to appear when I click the spaceship, and it should shoot straight up and then end up at the top. You know, I can also do some more things like when it reaches the edge, have it disappear, that sort of thing. So here it comes, it's loading, and there's my spaceship. No bullet. When I click, the bullet becomes visible and shoots up. Okay, so let's do that last thing. Is let's get rid of the bullet when it hits the edge. So I'm going to say ball one, and there's an edge reached event, which I know is going to be the top edge. And essentially what I want to do is the reverse of this visible block, and I want to set visible to false. Okay, and so I better go ahead and restart the emulator. And now the only difference I think is when the bullet shoots up, hits the top edge, it'll disappear again. You know, really we might want to reset its location back, but I'm going to show you how we might do that anyway later, because when we start moving the spaceship, we're going to have to relocate the bullet as well. So let's just see if at least the bullet disappears when it hits the top. And good, there it goes. It's gone. Apparently going off the top of the screen. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. What I'm going to do is come over here and add a couple buttons. And this is, you know, I don't know. You could have various ways to do the user interface, but I'm going to have a left arrow button, and then I'm going to have a right arrow button. And let's see. Where'd those guys go? And actually, let me grab an arrangement, a horizontal arrangement, so these guys can look side by side, which makes a little more sense. You know, we could do a lot more to make it look better, but at least this will let us move these guys. And I think I can center. Maybe I can't center the horizontal arrangement. Anyway, I'll just leave it like that for now. There is a way to center. It's a little more complicated. I'm going to make my canvas a little smaller because I see my buttons are not showing up correctly, so I'll make it 350. Sorry, let me type in 350 here. Okay, now my buttons are going to be a little better. And anyway, on the left button and right button, I just want this guy to move side to side. That's my goal. So anyway, I want to rename these buttons. That's going to be the right button. And this is going to be the left button. Okay, and now back in my behavior editor, I just want, when the person clicks the left button, I want to move that shooter sprite a little bit. So I'm going to change its X location. So I'll change its X to itself, and in this case I'll minus, since it's the left button, I'll minus, I don't know, not very much. How about, we'll start with 10. Okay, stick that in there. So on the left button, I should be able to move my sprite. There he goes. Okay, I kind of want to do the same thing for the right button. Right button dot click. I want to copy this whole row, and I'll make this a plus. Okay, now I think I kind of have some control of this thing. It's not the greatest UI, as I said, but we could make a better UI later. Okay, but now I can move my gunner. The problem is now when I shoot, the bullet's not going to come from my top of my nose. Okay, so now that I've got a movable spaceship, I need to make that bullet appear in the right place. So I'm going to go back to my shooter sprite.touched, and I've got to locate my ball correctly. And what I want to do, I'm just going to grab a move to for this one because I want to change both the X and Y coordinates. And what I want to do is I want to move it right on top of the shooter sprite. So I'm going to make my bullet be, I don't know, shooter sprite, and the X coordinate should be, the X coordinate's the left top of the shooter, so I'm going to actually add a little bit onto that. I have to play around with this, but I'll say plus 15. So I want my X coordinate of my bullet to be pretty much 15 pixels over from the left top corner of the thing. So I may have to play with that one a little bit. And my Y coordinate should be just above the top of the shooter sprite. So I'm going to grab Y, and that might be okay. I don't know, I'll minus 5, and let's get a minus. So I'm going to do what it is, minus 5, which should put a little bit above. Okay, so I think when I shoot now, let's just move him. Let's move him far over. Now, I think when I click on this, I know the ball, even though it's hidden, is right around here someplace, but I should move it above here, and then it should start shooting. Let's see if it works. Okay, not quite. I think this X coordinate needs to be farther over, because remember the shooter sprite.x is with the left top corner here, so 15 is probably way too small. Let's try 40, and it looks like this Y might even be wrong. I'm gonna make it minus 10. Oh, actually I had a minus 5 in there. I just want to do minus a positive 10. I think that should work. Now let's see how it does. Yeah, real close, real close. I think I want to start a little bit higher, so I'll make that 15, and this needs to be over just a bit more, 50 maybe. Okay, click on him now. Yeah, I'll try 55, and I think that's pretty close. It's all based on the size of this thing. I could also grab the width of this and divide it by 2, which is actually a little better, but I just wanted to show you kind of a more concrete way of doing it. So, I think no matter where I move this guy, if I shoot, the bullet's going to kind of come out from its nose. Well, thank you, and I hope this helps on building animations, and in this case, shooter games.